Hello and welcome to the Eamon on Track show. I am here today with my guest,
Kevin.
Hello, Kevin. Today
How
we're
we
going to
doing?
be talking about Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails. So,
We are.
I was interested in why specifically you picked this album from 9 Inch Nails. You know, there are more popular albums by them for sure.
Yeah, this one just gives me all the feels. Yeah, I mean, this is the first album they did, the first album I ever heard. It's the first one I ever owned on CD. Like when CDs came out, it was no brainer. That's the first tape to get replaced.
Yeah, interesting.
This is an album like there's so much emotion in this album. It changed a genre. Like its popularity really pushed forward this genre. And I really think it's 1989, but it started off the 90s.
Yeah, I very much feel like this is like signaling grunge almost.
A little, yes. It's the people that like this also liked that whole grunge scene as well. Yeah.
Anyways,
Even though this is a bit different.
Yeah, that's fair. So
this is the cover I like. I like the old. I don't like all the new the remastered version. I'm glad you picked that.
Yeah, I made sure to get the old one. So this is apparently a turbine that is meant to represent like a rib cage, and that's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that very much gives you an idea of kind of what this album is supposed to represent, almost, or the kind of imagery you'll get on this album.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, it's interesting though. They got like the blue and the pink. That's very abstract. You know, you wouldn't think to do that with an image like this.
Well, it was a holdover from the 80s. I mean, this is why he changed it in the remaster. He didn't like this pink and all this.
Interesting.
But I do. I think it's perfect. I think this album cover is so different from the others because this album is so different from the others.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, I can definitely see how this be different from like I know that 9 Inch Nails in general is like an industrial band, but this is like very much an industrial album.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of synths, not a ton of guitars. Yeah,
it's a lot of a good bit of bass though.
Yes, tons.
Yeah. But we got so let's start with the album with Head Like a Hole, which is like I feel like this definitely is the song you've heard of if you've heard of anything from this album.
Yeah, this is a song about money and about our love of it and how it leads us to ruin. And it's great. It's so much energy in this song. Funny enough, he was upset that this song is the one that became popular because he wrote this in about 15 minutes. And he struggled and labored over every other song on the album, and this is the one that becomes the huge success.
Of course it was. That somehow that seems like that somehow always happens, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me think here. Yeah, no, like I think that this is a really good album, a really good song, and I definitely feel like I know that accessibility isn't exactly the right word for this, but like in terms of like marketing this to people, this is the song that makes most sense, you know. It's definitely the big thing.
Right. And it's still relevant today. Like it's all of these songs are relevant today because they're all really driving at an emotion first rather than a situation or even really anything political to say.
Yeah. That's the thing I don't think people understand is the definition of the word politics. It's like I've heard politics called so many things. It isn't.
Well, politics is just life, really. Like, and our ideas about how to live it.
I guess, yeah. It's interesting. Anyways.
So it's a pretty heavy song. It's It's probably features the most guitars out of any
I
of
was
them.
gonna say, I think there's less synths on this song than any other song on the album.
Yeah, it's the more rock and roll, this one,
mm-hmm.
than any of the others as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it definitely, like, I've always been a stickler for an opening track because an opening track kind of sets the whole stage for the album, you know? And,
Right.
do you think that this does it this well? Because I
I
think
think
it
it
does it
does.
okay, but maybe not. Like, it gives you a right idea for the feeling, I'd say, at least. Like, it doesn't sound out of place, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. I think it does that well. I think this whole album is arranged well because you've got like it starts off strong with this and then slows down a bit for the next song, for Terrible Lie, but it's just as kind of gritty and angsty. And as you go into the fifth song, like down to the fifth song, down to Something I Can Never Have,
Yeah,
it's like
I did
it
notice that too,
drives
and I
you
wanted to talk
right
about it.
down.
It feels like they start it high and then it like goes down a little bit song by song until Something I Can Never Have.
And then it starts to come up again
Yeah.
in a more poppy way, and it's a nice ride of an album.
Yeah. I very much like how this album flows into each other. You know,
Right.
I very much appreciate an album making their songs like go together instead of having be song and that sort of thing. You know?
Right.
Speaking of which, unless you have anything else to say, we can move on.
No, yeah, we can move on.
Terrible Lie. So I really like the rhythm of this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorites. This was probably my favorite on the album when I was younger, as a young atheist surrounded by people who weren't. I really enjoyed this song. Like it's this guy that is not necessarily atheist, but struggling with his faith, and he's looking at his life and saying like, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
what I've done everything. I've done everything I was supposed to. And
yeah,
none of this is working out, right?
No.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be about God and religion, but that's kind of
but
what
there's definitely a leaning that way.
Sure, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. I also think you can very much read it as like, and I'm struggling how to put this, but you know, you're kind of told this is what you need to be an adult, and then you realize, wow, I'm kind of doing all these things, and it's like weird. Maybe that's just because I'm a young adult myself, but I relate to that in a sense.
Yeah, you're hitting on the exact tone of that. Like the thing about this album is the songs have their subjects, they have their things to say, but
very ambiguous.
Again, being driven by the emotion, it can be anything you want it to be about. And that's
I think that's a perfect like line in a song. A lot of songs can be too ambiguous to where they're kind of about nothing, and a lot of songs, you know, it's not bad to have, you know, a defined thing to write for a song.
Absolutely not.
But when you have this kind of sweet spot, you know, when you're writing about something you love, so many people can reach out to it and apply it to their own situations and their own lives and get something out of it.
Right. Right. And yeah, that's kind of what I think you're nailing it right there with this song. It is sort of about growing up and realizing like, oh, all the things that people have been telling me, they're not necessarily true.
Yeah, kind of bullshit.
Yeah. So that really spoke to me as a young man, that song.
Yeah, no, this song I think very much speaks to me too. I mean, I will say I like this album. I really like this album, but I won't lie that I say it's really good, but sonically I feel like it can all be like hard to tell where one song starts, another song ends almost.
Right.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not complicated. Like it's
Yeah.
not, the music isn't it doesn't blow you away.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It's really good.
And the music is I just read about an interview Trent gave. He said that the music is precise, using the synths and the drum machines and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all precise, but his singing, his voice isn't. And it really helps to convey the emotion. And
I definitely feel a cold robotic feeling from this song,
from the music part. Yeah. That's actually exactly how he described it. Like it's cold and it's precise.
Mm-hmm.
But his
voice
helps, gives it that emotion, that authenticity.
It's also just a good juxtaposition, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, I admit, I didn't really look up about this album, but did he have anyone else helping with him with this, or was it all like he did tapes and stuff? Or
he writes everything. He'll get help. This album he got help from a guy named Flood, but only on a couple of tracks. He basically wrote this entire album. I mean, on the album it just says 9 Inch Nails is Trent Reznor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no band. There's one other member now.
Right.
Atticus Ross. But before that, there was never another permanent member of the band.
Yeah. Even before that, I was reading up, Atticus was always helped out too, but yeah. That's interesting. It reminds me, and I haven't listened to this album a lot, but I've heard that that's very similar to Foo Fighters' self-titled album, where it was just Dave Grohl.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. I'm not a big Foo Fighters fan myself, but I'm actually a big Dave Grohl fan. Like him as a person, he seems really fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of his music though.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, you got anything else to say, or should we move on? All right,
we can keep going.
Down in it.
This
again, we kind of hit another layer of slowness almost.
Yeah. This is the first song Trent Reznor ever wrote. And this video, oddly enough, I know we're talking about the music, but this video had them investigated by the FBI.
No, that's awesome. I love to talk about the visual aspect. I think that audio and visuals always belong together.
Yeah, I don't know much about the music videos, but I know like what happened is they were filming Trent laying on the ground. They had like pools of blood around him and it looked like he was dead. And they attached a camera to a balloon so it would go up in the air and go farther and farther away from him, and then they'd reverse that so it looked like it was coming towards him. Well, the balloon got away from them and landed in somebody's field 100 miles away.
They saw the footage?
They saw the footage and thought that that this was an actual murder, because the camera also showed people running away from Trent's body, but they were just chasing the camera, trying to catch it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. But this song, Down in It, what is this song? This it seems to me that this song is about like addiction, like he's or bipolar, like he's so high, feeling feelings you wouldn't believe, and then all like something catches his eye and it pulls him down and drags him down like this. It's
interesting. I definitely didn't get that feeling from this song.
Yeah, because it's poppy, right? It's a little more
it's interesting
lighthearted.
Poppy. I would not describe this album as poppy or like very commercial.
I'm comparing it though to like Downward Spiral or Broken, and compared to that, it is quite poppy.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But it's he's sort of going through a crisis, I would say. Like, I can't believe it's almost like manic depressive, right? Like he's got these manic episodes and then these depressive episodes.
That's interesting. I don't really know
Yeah.
much about his, like, if he has anything
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah?
Yes. I don't know if he's got like anything clinical, but he's been through depression. He's been through a lot of drug addiction. He almost died of a heroin overdose.
Okay. So yeah. Interesting.
A lot of angst.
I couldn't tell. This album is all sunshine and rainbows, in case you haven't noticed.
Right. Yeah, when I picked this album, I'm like, oh no, I hope I don't depress Eamon. Like
Jesus. No, this album, I very much relate to it. I almost feel like, man, depressing music is so good for someone who's depressed, because it almost, as someone who is depressed and has dealt with that before, it helps me. When I hear those things, I almost live through them, and that helps me work out my feelings.
Right.
That's part of what I love so much about music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this one.
No, it's not one of my favorite songs on the.
Yeah. Okay, are we gonna move on to Sanctified then?
Yeah, let's move on to Sanctified.
All right. So I kind of got a religious almost thing from this song again, or maybe. I'll admit, I was more listening to. I was kind of vibing with the rhythm, not so much listening to the lyrics themselves on this album.
Yeah, the rhythm on this song is. This is the boom 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 boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom boom boom. It's so good.
I wish I could play. I wish I could play this album, but I just can't risk it.
Why not? Why not? You'd be all right.
You were just talking about earlier how you were playing 10 seconds of the Star Trek song, and that got copyrighted.
Oh no, you mean play it? I thought you meant like because you play bass.
No, yeah.
No, I wouldn't play it.
Yeah, I know. No, I love the bass on this album. It's actually like it's probably most obvious on this song, but it's very growly, and I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the whole album, right? It complements his voice, that kind of growliness, and yeah, this song, not my favorite. I love I love the music of this one, but this song doesn't really speak to me, you know. I think it's about. I mean, it could be just about sex, or even addiction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the way all of these songs are. They could be about multiple things, right?
Right. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
You just looking through the lyrics right now?
Yeah, I am. See if yeah, this is probably my least favorite on the whole album. Except for that bass.
Yeah, I know.
Great. So good.
But yeah, I know. I can see that. Other than, I don't really got much to say about this one personally.
Me neither. But then we come right into Something I Can Never Have.
Yes. Now,
this is my favorite.
I was just about to say, I think this is also my favorite. Yeah. The distantness and the longingness in his voice is so good. I love the synth on this so much.
Yeah, and that haunting piano. Just that do 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 do. Like it's so.
And the lyrics are so interesting too. It seems like, you know, he says something I can never have. It almost seems more like someone I can never have. Like
well, that's right. And that's I think this is a song mostly just about loss, about losing something and there's just no way to get it back, like unrecoverable loss.
Yeah.
And when you like this song is for when you experience that and you don't want to get better yet. You just want to live in it for a bit. You listen to this song,
exactly.
and it's you really, his voice in this is just incredible, along with that kind of haunting piano that comes in and out. That piano gets kind of
so good.
Quiet. It gets quiet under his voice, but then just comes right back when he's not singing, and it's incredible. And it's even the pace of this song, it's almost painful. It's so slow, but it's supposed to be painful, right? It's a masterpiece, this song.
You really do feel his pain, and I feel my own pain through this, almost something you can never have. It's just like, I mean, it's pretty much just like that. No, yeah, my favorite song on the album. I agree.
And yeah, I love Everywhere I Look, You're All I See. Just a fading fucking reminder of who I used to be. Like, you've experienced this loss, this such a profound loss that it's changed you. You're different. You're not the same person anymore.
Very much.
And it's so good.
It also feels like a lost loved one. And I guess I relate that because I lost my grandmother like a couple months ago, but I very much see that in this song. I relate to that.
I can easily bring myself to tears listening to this song.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And yeah,
absolutely.
Right, gray would be the color if I had a heart.
Like, yeah, I love that so much. So, like, there's something to be said about it. Like, I think some people might call it melodramatic, but no, man, it hits me right in the feels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this song is a masterpiece.
Yeah, no, I don't really have much else to say about it.
No, I don't. It's
just go fucking listen to it.
Yeah, for sure. Over and over and over again, especially if you're sad.
Especially if you're sad. If you're sad, trust me, this song will make you fucking cry, and you'll feel better afterwards. All right, let's move on to Kinda I Want To. I think that it's interesting because when I first listened to this song, I interpreted it as him wanting to do something illegal with and like he was kind of fighting his own moral consciousness about it. But now that you mention it, his drugs thing, I almost think it's about that addiction.
Yeah. There's lots of speculation online that this is about wanting to have a homosexual experience.
Oh, interesting.
Because of something he said, but I don't know if I quite buy that.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it that much. I didn't either. Kinda I
interesting
want
to see
him,
it's just himself from going, like kinda I want to just I want to.
Yeah. Over and over and over again. Short song.
Yeah.
But it's I think you're right. I think it's about temptation generally, right? Like it doesn't have to have a subject. It's the temptation to want to do something, trying to resist, but knowing ultimately that you're going to fail to resist. You're going to do it. And I think you're right. I think that speaks more to addiction than anything else.
Yeah, like I think this very much could be about addiction. Just rereading the lyrics here.
But this song too, you come from the previous song, from Something I Can Never Have, to this, and this is like it's starting to bring you back up again, right? Like it's
right.
The music.
This is definitely faster than that song. And we'll get again, like a little faster as we get going.
I really like this song. I like just musically like this song.
Yeah, no, again, like it's just it's general across the whole album, but it's just got this really nice groovy again mechanical feeling almost, but it's
simple.
I just think it really works.
Yeah. And it's simple. Like there's nothing complicating the music.
God, no.
Yeah, and you can't say that as much about his later work, right?
No.
any of his other work. It's
Not
a
that
little
there's
more
necessarily a
complicated.
bad thing. It's just that
No,
sometimes you need to get down to the simple, remove everything that doesn't need to be there. What's is, and I feel like that very much describes this album.
Yeah, and this album, it was one of the first to be like to do this. Like, this was not what music was like in 1989.
God no. I'd argue that again, like I compared it to grunge. I think that was Austrian, but I compared it to grunge in a sense. I mean, yes, it's more industrial than anything else, but they're very similar movements in a sense. They're very much about
Right.
their emotions. They were very much getting popular at the same time, and yeah.
Well, they're even playing the same shows. Like, they're
Yeah.
opening for each other. Like,
Right.
it's different music, but it's the same vein.
I feel like that whole generation, what was coming from it was kind of a big fuck you to just like the overly hooky stuff of the 80s. Just
Right.
like fuck being happy all the time. Let's talk about real shit.
Yeah. And then then music turned again, and now it's all seems happy shit to me now. Maybe I'm just
Yeah, for
old.
sure. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna change back at some point, but I just don't know when. It
Yeah, it was a
usually
very
does.
angsty time, the 90s, Eamon.
Yeah,
Very
no kidding.
angsty. We were all in this state.
It's very good reason to be angsty.
Little did I know it wouldn't really get any better.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, anyways, let's move on to
Sure.
Sin. This is an interesting one. Oh, I didn't know this. I'm just reading this now, but interesting. This has full frontal. This song or the video again. I didn't watch the music videos for this, but apparently has full frontal male and female nudity.
Really? They didn't show that on TV then.
Yeah, no, it was banned from MTV. Sorry, I'm just kind of reading the lyrics.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah,
This is a good song. It's
a good song. I think this might be my nomination for. Well, maybe not this song actually. I think it's the one after this I'm thinking of. I almost get the impression that this is like the song is about being used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. This is after a breakup, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Again, though, I think you can also get that religious bent from it too.
Or being. Is this no? This isn't the one. Yeah, it could absolutely. Again, it could be anything, right? These songs are more nebulous that way. Like they leave out the subject quite often.
I almost feel like the
song,
the songs on this album aren't so much about like things, but more about emotions that he feels. And that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't
know. I'm not particularly like. Yeah, it's a good song. I agree. So.
I guess it's just feelings of being useless. Like, I'm just an effigy to be defaced, to be disgraced.
Yeah.
Your need for me has been replaced. Like being discarded. Yeah.
It's very interesting in this album. Because, again, I feel like it feels more like about an emotion. And the emotion I get from this is almost like betrayal.
Well, the next song is definitely about
The next song is,
betrayal.
I mean, That's What I Get. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
about betrayal.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean, I guess I'm not the only boy for you is one of the first lines.
yeah. Yeah, this is probably a romance song. I suspect he's been cheated on.
Right. But it's interesting here because it shows how people blame themselves when this happens.
Yeah.
In this song, like he's like, that's what I get. That's, you know, this was my fault. That's what I get. That's what I deserve, basically.
Really? I think it's more like that's what I get for trusting you.
I suppose. And it
Don't think so?
one of my favorite lines here is maybe it didn't mean that much, but it meant everything to me.
Yeah. Clearly, like,
Yeah.
yeah, means a lot to.
But it's those feelings of like, that's what I get. Like that's those feelings of worthlessness. Like he says in this song, you took away all my self-confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think it's good.
And it's just the way he screams that's what I get. And then like
that's right.
over and over. It's just raw emotion.
Yeah. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right? Like to think why does it come as a surprise to think that I was so naive?
Yeah.
Like he's blaming himself in this song. He's like, I should have seen it.
All right. I see that from that lyric
right?
too, though. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember feeling all of these things growing up.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you're growing up, you're blaming yourself. I almost feel like this would be a perfect album for like a teenager.
Like, it was perfect one for me when I was a teenager.
That's fair, but I don't have that experience because I'm a young adult listening to this for the first time. But you give this to a teenager, I feel like they could relate with it so much.
Yeah, and we had to hide these. People had to hide this album. Oh yeah, that's the way things were then.
Yeah,
this was all satanic, and it was it was the devil's work.
I won't say I'd say things are different now, but they are and they kind of aren't, unfortunately.
The more they change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah. Very much so. All right. Now we go on to The Only Time. Now, I feel like this is probably my least favorite song on the album. It just didn't really like.
Oh, I love this song.
Yeah?
Not really the message of it or whatever, but just the music. Like I don't. It's hard to explain music when you can't hear it, but it is good. Like the lyrics are good. This is all about, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about a one night stand.
Yeah, that definitely seems right.
And how he's been used, but now he's going to be using someone, and how he feels about that.
Yeah, I can definitely see how you'd say they're using someone.
Right? Like in somewhere in there, he says, my moral standing is lying down. Like he's just, I've given up. I'm not, I'm just going to take what I want, do what I want. Fuck it.
I gotta admit, I really like the lyric, lay my hands on heaven and the sun and the moon and the stars, where the devil wants to fuck me in the back of his car.
It's probably why I like
what a line.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely that's probably why I like this song so much. That I'll sing that through every time I hear it.
Yeah. It's just a really good line.
Yeah, and he delivers all these perfectly. His voice is unbelievable on this album.
Oh, it's just unbelievable in general. I feel like I really like his voice, but definitely on this album specifically too.
Nothing quite like the feel of something new.
Mm.
Like, yeah, this is One Night Stand.
Yeah, and like he's
And
drunk. You know,
this
he's
is the only time I really feel alive, right? Like,
is when I'm having sex, I guess.
right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Because
again,
a
it's
lot
a
of
good
people do
song.
when
It's just
they're in these,
definitely not my favorite. I'd probably say
yeah.
my least favorite.
But like when people are in these desperate frames of mind, I mean,
Yeah.
they'll turn to either substances or sex or alcohol, and
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
really what this song
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
is speaking to.
It's funny. This is, I feel like, one of the more definite songs on the album, where you could say like, "Oh yeah, this is
Were
definitely
you,
about."
yes.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. But then we end off with Ring Finger, and
Yes.
it's good. You know, I definitely feel like
Yeah.
I prefer the first half of this album to the second half.
Yeah.
I
This
almost get the impression
this
this is about, yeah. He feels like he's not right for his lover. Maybe.
right. Yeah, that's what I get from it. Yes. He's
Yeah.
trying to live up to, say, her standards, and he's always falling short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got me working so hard lately, working my hands until they bleed. If I was
Yeah.
twice the man I could be, I'd still be half of what you need. Like that.
Yeah.
That's a great line too. His
Great
lyrics are
line.
incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's got great lines. Like, we've been talking about them all throughout this album, but he's just a very poetic person. He writes very good lyrics.
Yeah. Well, I think he stresses a lot over his music too, like, and has
Yeah, definitely.
always done that. I mean, that's why you get so many Nine Inch Nails sort of remixes. It's him never being quite satisfied with what he's done.
Kind of insane to think about for me. Let's see here. Just trying to pull up because I guess we gotta do favorite, least favorite song. So I think we both agreed
Sure.
that our favorite song was Something I Could Never Have.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
hands down.
beautiful song. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, jeez. The only other thing I can say about it is, yeah, like, wow. What's
Yeah.
your least pick for least favorite song?
Least favorite, Jesus.
I
I
know it's
like
kind of
all of
hard.
these songs. This is the only album that every song is in my liked songs playlist.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I can see it.
Um, probably probably Ring Finger
Mm,
is my
okay,
least. It kind of
I can see
ends.
it.
I find the album ends with a bit of a whimper.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pick Ring Finger too. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of the last two songs, like musically. I think lyrically they're interesting, but musically they're not as good as the rest of the album for me.
That is fair. It does. This album does start off strong and kind of coast to a stop, let's say.
Yeah, I can see it. Anyways, it's time for scoring. So,
Okay.
musically, I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. It's just, like, this is a really good album. It's just that and it's not that it's bad, but it's all very much the same thing throughout the entire album. And
Yes.
yeah, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong
I
with that,
agree.
but I just think that
I
that means it's not exactly worthy of a 10.
yeah. I would probably agree. Musically, I'd probably even go a little lower. I'd probably go an 8 for me.
As for lyrics, I think, or do you want to explain what do you just generally agree with the music, or do you want to say anything else?
No, it's
Yep.
simple. Like I said, it's simple, and it's a great backing for his voice, but his voice is really the star.
That's fair. I'm giving this
All
lyrics a
right,
10. That he is such a poet. Like
you
beautiful,
are
insightful
correct.
lyrics that just kind of express everything about the emotion he's trying to convey.
Yep, I would give it a 10 as well. It's the lyrics really are unforgettable.
Pacing, I'll give an 8. I think that it's all really good, except for, again, those last 2 tracks at the end. They're not quite my favorite. You know?
I'd probably go 9. I really like the kind of up and down of it. Like I like that it builds to that sort of break in the middle and then coasts to a stop.
Okay. Interesting. For visuals, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's
It's a
not
product
that
of the
I think
80s.
that the visuals are bad. I'm just not super interested by them.
Yeah,
The album. Yeah.
I saw a few the album cover. No, the album cover. Geez, I would give it even less than a 6 just on the album cover. And this is this album didn't have anything inside of it either. Like
Right. It didn't have a
physical
gatefold or
media,
no.
it didn't have a good. It didn't even have the lyrics inside. Nothing.
Okay.
It was
Right.
nothing. So I'd probably. What did you give it?
6.
6. I'd maybe go a 5, like middle of the
Yeah,
road.
makes sense.
I
And then
mean,
for
even
production, I'm gonna
Trent
give it.
wanted to redo the cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly. For production, I'll give it a 9. It's pretty much perfect for what it needs to be on the album.
I will trust you on that one. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
just
think about that.
yeah, that's
But I'll give
fair.
it a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an 8.3. You have an 8.2 for
Oh
a.
my god, you like this more than me.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. For a combined 8.3. All right.
Well, that's
That
great.
makes it. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to do like a ranking of the averages at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you listened to much other Nine Inch Nails?
No, I haven't really. No, this is my introduction to
No.
the band, honestly.
Well, what comes next is it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's and musically it's a little better. Like it's Downward Spiral is considered an absolute
I
masterpiece.
know. I tried listening to the beginning of Downward Spiral, and I was like, "This is hurting my ears. I'm gonna turn that off."
Yeah, it's definitely different than this.
Yeah,
It's not as
quiet as this
just
album.
yes, right, exactly. And it really attacks you. Like it's in your face.
Mm.
Same with Broken. Broken is the next album after this one. It's an EP.
It's DP.
And uh it is some of the songs on there. Oh my god. I almost picked it, but I didn't want to hurt you.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, I'll be happy to have you on again whenever you want, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
This was fun, Eamon.
Now, before we leave, we have to do a. We have to talk about the fact that we are part of a United Federation of Podcasts. So let's go over the shows. We got the Super Mader Brothers podcast, starring Dave and Jeff, where they talk about Big Brother and Survivor and that sort of stuff.
And Jaemeel on there.
Yeah, Jaemeel too. But he's not one of the Super Mader brothers, you know.
I think he is more than Jeff right now. Jeff's barely showing up.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. We got Hold Up, starring Davin and Chris Murphy, where they talk about movies pre and post the 2000s, and they pick a topic, pick some movies, and they watch it. I was on the anime episode a couple months back. It was really fun.
Yeah, I did the boats episode, and I'm doing the sports episode coming up. I don't even like sports.
But you like
at
sports
all.
movies.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. They're different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good show. Everybody should check that show out. I like it.
Wait, what did you pick?
Hold up.
No, what movie did you pick?
Oh, I picked 8 Men Out.
Interesting.
It's about the 1919 White Sox.
Oh, it's the Black Sox?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We got Hellbound, a horror movie podcast. It's really good. It's really well produced. It's basically like not even like really a podcast. It's more like a web show because it just gives such this produced feeling to it, and it's about horror. I really think it's interesting. Go check it out. But Trivial Debates. I forget what we're talking about this week, but it's the world's greatest trivia show. Talk about movies, TV, music, sports, history, and a wild card. And we put our debates, and we try to convince our judge who has the best opinion, basically.
And hilarity ensues.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. We've got we got the Mary Mader Marvel show. We talked about the Marvels the other day. I was on that episode too, and I'm just gonna be honest. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as I feel like most people said it was.
I haven't seen it. I'm not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't amazing.
I'm out on the Marvel stuff for a while.
Me too. Honestly, I literally came to see this because Dad was like, "Hey, I'm going to see this. You want to come?" And I was like, "Sure, if you pay for my ticket."
Well, I never pass up a free movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's about it.
And we have the Deep Space Nine tomorrow.
Oh yes,
we're back.
That's right.
We're back. So it's going to be me and Dave and Jaemeel maybe and Jody. I think next.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine at 9
tomorrow.
Yeah,
at 8. We're starting at 8 now.
Oh, but then it doesn't work.
Well, it's fine, but I'm tired at 9 o'clock, and I don't want to start a podcast.
That's fair, I guess. All right. Oh, I think that's about it. I have been Eamon.
And Kevin.
Yep. And we'll see you on the flip side.
I love that opening and that intro outro. It's so good, right?
Mm-hmm.